How's it going, everybody? I'm Link, and this is Lynk-On Media Podcast. We have a guest, AJ. How's it going, AJ? How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Thank you for having me. How's
All
everything
right.
with you?
Things are good.
Glad to
You
hear
know,
it.
just settling in my new home of Orange County. You are. I
OC
heard
boy.
you. Yeah, man. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. You just moved to Texas, right?
Yeah, well, just as in under a year now, but um, still, it still kind of feels fresh. Considering it was in like the DMV area for like 3 years or so, so it's still relatively fresh. But yeah, we're down here in the sweltering heat.
Oh man, tell me about it. We went to visit some family out in Bakersfield, and
Mhm.
it's basically just a valley of heat and just dry, hot heat. I don't think I've been that hot, and we're from the tropics,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
is some like yeah, it's hot. But I could imagine Texas being like mad
bro.
hot right
I,
there. Yeah.
my, I feel like my wife tricked me, man. It's Yeah, because she was the one that pushed for the move, right? Oh, they have all 4 seasons. You'll be fine. Because she hates the cold, but I hate the heat. Yeah, and then lo and behold, got a little. I mean, I love the fall too. Fall was decent, but come around to the summer now, and it's just like unbearably hot, man.
Yeah, fall is
Just
good. Fall was pretty great in Toronto, where I previously lived.
mhm.
We have like about a week of fall before it gets into like just brutal cold wetness.
Yeah.
So yeah, my wife hates Toronto weather. Like she can't stand it. She, the 4 or 2 months of summer is
Yeah.
not enough. She needs like an entire year, which yeah, I'm fine with that. She keeps telling me let's move back to Grenada, and I'm like, well, we'll just I'm thinking about it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, so
Yeah.
we're both big movie fans. We're Star Wars fans. You're a big Star Wars fan, right? How long have you been
Mhm.
watching Star Wars for? Like the old ones?
I can't even tell you now. I won't lie. It's not like I was introduced to it like through some alternate individual, like growing up or anything like that. I really just started to get into it, seeing the movies on TV,
Right.
and then I just started watching them repeatedly. So I guess sometime within the teenage years, I guess, and I just it kind of hit me at a point that I realized that every time the movies were on, and this more so being the first trilogy episodes 4 to 6, every time they were on, I used to like get excited to watch them, even though I knew I had gone to the point where I knew it inside out, and I just always enjoyed seeing it over and over again, and it kind of really struck me as yeah, this is arguably my favorite franchise.
Yeah, I mean, there was a point where it was every like I lived and breathed Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
I grew up around the time where the originals were on the Sci-Fi Channel,
Mm,
and that was like what 90 from 94 to
yeah.
97, I think.
Right.
And it well, actually no, 1990 I saw them first. It was on our back in Grenada, channel 11. That was like our local channel. They
Yeah.
showed, like I remember them, like I saw Star Wars like when I was like two, oh no, 3 or 4. And
Mhm.
then I saw the rest of them, and I was like, oh my God, there's more. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
so I saw Empire, and I was so pissed at the end. I was like, oh my God, they just left it like that. And then
Yeah.
but they played Return of the Jedi like right after. So I was
Right,
like,
yeah.
okay, cool. And I just loved them ever since then. And I saw the letterbox version on the Sci-Fi Channel. I remember when
Right.
the the special editions were supposed to come to Grenada, but they never came.
Mhm.
So that was a big disappointment. And then I think the Phantom Menace was coming out like a couple years afterwards, and I loved it. And then everybody sort of hated it. Everybody had like disappointments because of Jar Jar Binks and the acting wasn't that good and all that sort of thing. And I'm like, yeah, but it's Star Wars though. Like, and then Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter was coming up around that time, and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, okay, maybe Star Wars isn't as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
But then I saw like uh, the third one, episode 3, and I loved that one. So yeah, like just the 6 movies, I'm cool with them, good or bad. Like
Yeah.
that was it. And then Disney bought it over. All right, your thoughts. Just very quickly, sequel trilogy. What's your thoughts on those?
Uh, I didn't like any of them. I didn't like any of them. The sequel trilogy, the only movie that they brought out, and this wasn't necessarily a part of the trilogy, but that I enjoyed was Rogue One.
Uh-huh.
I actually did enjoy Rogue One. Admittedly, there were parts of like the solo story that I actually enjoyed, but overall, I wouldn't say that was a good project either. But that trilogy, it just absolutely stinks to me. I feel like they made no effort to have any sort of adherence to the source material. And I feel like that is continuing in their projects to this day, but I guess we'll delve into that a bit more. But it was just annoying to see. And then obviously with the manner in which these projects have to be undertaken nowadays with PC culture and no, don't get me wrong, I'm not like trying to bash any of that. It's just I think sometimes agendas are given too much light in with a damaging effect on the actual project itself.
Right. So, well, I think even though, I mean, it's always admirable to like try to put like your personal thing into a project. I mean, Star Wars was George Lucas taking things that he loved, things that he believed in, things that he liked, like samurai movies and cars. He used to work on cars back in the day, and he's a very big history buff, and all of that you can see in like the first trilogy, especially in the prequel trilogy. But then with these new ones, you kind of feel like, first off, they have a conflicting tone because there's 2 different directors. You have JJ who likes, you get that he likes Star Wars, but he doesn't get it. So you kind of have like, he's, oh, remember like the Millennium Falcon? Like, okay, but how did it get there? Why? The character is just basically turned a corner and there's the Millennium Falcon with no reason of why it's there or anything like that. It's like, don't ask questions. It's just, it's there. It's presented to you. Just, be happy with that. And it's like, yeah. But even when I would say that I liked Force Awakens for like very surface level reasons.
Okay.
But I would have to say my disappointment with that one would be we don't know. There's a lot of information between the 30 years between Return of the Jedi and now that they just sort of glossed over. We don't understand like the political side of what's happening right now. We don't know anything what happens. We just know that there's a new Darth Vader. There's this girl who is the new Luke Skywalker. There's all of these things that are
basically a rehash with their. It's basically a rehash with their newer characters.
Yeah, when I saw the Starkiller base thing in the poster, I was like, oh no, they're doing a Death Star again.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah. And to kind of piggyback off of your point really quickly, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm not against like Disney trying to take it in an alternate direction. It's their intellectual property, they can do it as they please, right?
Sure.
And I understand that we can't hark on these older characters forever. At some point we need to move on from that. I get that. Yeah. My biggest issue is just how they approach the older, the vintage, the original characters and storyline, and how they manipulate that to into their own storylines and characters, essentially. And with, like I said, like with it seems like no serious adherence to, all right, well, we're going to build on the original story and then take it in this direction for us. It's just kind of like, all right, well, that happened, that's cool, but this is what we're going to do now, so this is what you get. And whatever happened in the past, you could just remember it, but it doesn't have much bearing on. It just feels like everything they make is a missed opportunity.
That's well, yeah. Well, let's go into Obi-Wan, which I think is probably one of their chief missed opportunities. Like Obi-Wan should be a slam dunk. It should be like everybody should be like, oh hey, Obi-Wan, that's they should make that work. And from top to bottom, they really screwed that up. They really effed that up. Like you didn't like any of that, any of the episodes, right?
I think after the first episode, I was kind of like, I don't know, but I wasn't saying its praises, but at the same time, I was not cursing it from episode 1 after the very first part.
Right.
But I think it was like from 2 going on, I was like, no, this is, and 3 is when I really lost it. 3 is when I really lost it. I was like, no, this is absolute trash.
3 is the worst episode. Like it's the
by far
worst.
By far.
I think what got me was okay. Like the first episode, I think they did a good job at showing where Obi-Wan was in his life and his point of view and all that sort of thing. Even though it was kind of confusing how he still wants to train Luke, but he doesn't know how to use the Force anymore.
And I was sorry. Let me stick a pin here because this is one of the main issues. No, this is one of the main things. I can't remember if we discussed this off air, but this is one of the main issues that I was telling a couple of my coworkers as to why. Now, I understand that there's going to be the need for some kind of character arc with Obi-Wan, right?
Yes.
I get that. So they were always going to make him seem a little more, like out of it a little bit so he could build back up to what we know him to be at the end. That's cool. But I felt like they went so far with it. No, at the end of, as in episode 3, not the movie episode 3, not the Obi-Wan series. At the end of that, when after the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan leaves him to die, and then all the Jedi meet and they talk about, basically, well, the Jedi almost going extinct, blah, blah, blah. And Yoda tells Obi-Wan he has more training for him up ahead, right? Basically.
Right.
And right. At that point, Obi-Wan was not like sulking, he was not sullen to have lost his brother Anakin or whatever. He had essentially recovered emotionally by that time. So it kind of
was a determination.
Yeah,
there was a determination after that to
correct. And to forge on ahead, they had to do what they had to do for the sake of like trying to preserve the Jedi, and then obviously like looking after Luke for when he was coming of age to be able to train. But in all this, Obi-Wan himself was supposed to be going to train under the moniker of Ben Kenobi, right? So it kind of was really grinding my gears to show how low they made Obi-Wan sink after that first episode. Like he was almost like a vagrant, and I didn't like it.
Yo, here's my thing. Okay. I'm sure some war veterans or people who have been to war, and I've seen a lot of stories of Vietnam vets and stuff like that. Now, a lot of them come back and they're sad.
Yeah.
And they're grieving. They're traumatized. Yeah. Great point. It's a great way to approach the Obi-Wan character, but he forgets how to do everything. Like, okay.
Everything.
It
was too extreme.
Everything before that, Obi-Wan was a Jedi Knight. He was a spy. He was a war general. He, led armies. He had to sneak into enemy territories and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And are you telling me he doesn't even know how to like stick with his own lies, his own cover story? Like he says Leia's name. As soon as I saw that, I was like, nah, son. Nah, you fucked this up. This is fucked. That was the point. And there was a lot of canon breaking stuff in it. But I was like, okay, well, I'll let that slide. That I was just like, no, y'all fucked it. You lost me.
Yeah, that point for me was episode 3. When I kid you not, when I saw it, I literally paused because my wife watched it with me, right?
Yeah.
We were sitting on the couch watching it, and when she paused it, I'm sorry, when I'll tell you the scene, but I had to pause it and be like, what the fuck am I really watching here? What is this bullshit? And bro, I was so emotional and cussing, and she realized I wasn't pleased because she saw my face like turning into a frown as it was progressing. Now, this is in the same third part or episode, right? When coming towards the end, I think that was the first appearance of Vader, was it? For the series?
Yes, that was the
When
first.
right
Yeah,
when he's tracking Obi-Wan and he enters a town, and mind, to me this is just terrible writing. And you could even take out the fact that it's Star Wars, but it was just a plot hole in itself in their own writing, right? Remember, Vader is walking through the town and he snaps a kid's neck.
yeah.
An innocent kid on the side of the road. Lord Vader used the Force to suspend his father in the air. The kid comes out, begs him, stop, don't do that to my dad, all that kind. Uses the Force to snap the kid's neck in cold blood. In cold blood, Link. He just kills the kid just like that, right? But then further down in the episode,
I thought that shit was hilarious. But anyway,
I was like, yes, this is the Vader I came to see. But then a couple minutes down into the episode, he's within touching distance of Obi-Wan. Now, first of all, it really annoyed me the fact that Obi-Wan Ben came face to face with Vader and acted like a scared puppy and ran away.
he ran away. He just like
he ran right, like really scurried away, scurried, just as you did, scurried.
That was some scurrying shit, man. I was dying,
bro. And what made it worse is the fact that I'm like, okay, if Vader actually really wanted to capture Obi-Wan at that moment, he could. He should have been able to use the Force to. This is a man who just killed.
Come back here.
Kid. Exactly.
Yeah, like he could have used the Force.
Like easily. But I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't get too outraged at that because I'm like, all right, clearly they want them to meet. You know, they're building up to the big fight. So I'm like, all right, whatever. It annoyed me, but that wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back. But then it was afterwards when they showed us Obi-Wan being essentially like, as you said, almost like an army veteran who's just out of work and just has nothing going for him. He's just like stealing food to go home and all that kind of stuff. No kind of Jedi training. And all of a sudden, he's able to wield a lightsaber and go toe-to-toe with Lord Vader in that little mini fight that they had in that same episode. I'm like, are you all fucking shitting me? Shitting me?
He barely did anything.
Barely, but he should not have been able to do anything based on how they were they were progressing his character at that point. That's my point.
It basically made it like he looked like he forgot everything that he learned from the age of what, like 4 or 2 when they get, and he even talks about it. He talks about how, he was very young when he started training and he had a brother and all that sort of thing. He doesn't even remember his life from before. So you're training from a young age like that, and you're just going to forget everything that you. And that's it. And it gets worse. That episode gets fucking worse. Okay. So how'd you like that part where, okay, I love the part where Darth Vader pulled with the Force Obi-Wan's body and puts it into the fire. That shit that's some petty fucking shit. Yeah. That's Anakin Skywalker. He is a petty little bitch. Yeah. And I loved it. I was like, this is on point. You can't get worse. It can't get worse than this. This is where it's at. And then this chick from Game of Thrones, one of the Sand Snakes, like she shoots the same thing to cause the fire. I don't know, the gas tank or whatever. It blows up and it makes a bigger fire. Now tell me this: why didn't Vader use the Force to just extinguish the fire again, like the same fire that he just did? Why? It's just inconsistency. That's what I'm trying to say. It was just too many plot holes. You know what it reminds me of? You know what it reminds me of? You ever seen The Flash where they need to go to a commercial break, but they don't want the Flash to like catch the bad guys, so they come up with some bullshit reason why the Flash, the fastest man alive, can't catch a guy who could make tornadoes or shoot freeze rays or something like that. Is like some bullshit. It has to be some bullshit. Like, oh my god, he turned a corner. I can't see him. Like, just follow him then. Like, that's the type of writing we're dealing with. That is the type, and so the third episode I think was the worst. I think the first 2 episodes were okay, but did they have to have little baby Leia running around and nobody could catch her, like with her little legs?
Yeah, I
Nobody could
saw that,
catch.
and I'm like, come on, guys, really,
Did you?
like
Oh
really
my
this.
god! There's that one shot where she there's this branch and she dives under the branch and the guy like runs into it, and I was just
Yeah,
like, oh my god,
I remember exactly what you're talking about. I
who?
remember exactly what you're talking about. I had this a similar reaction. I'm like, nah, y'all can't be serious. Y'all cannot be serious here right now. Like
You?
none of
Oh
them could actually
god!
catch. Come on, bro. I don't even need to be at a full sprint and I could have caught that little girl. That makes absolutely no sense. And these men are supposed to be like trained, well, trained, but still professionals in whatever they were doing
Yeah, I mean
and couldn't catch a
there
little girl.
like there are stun guns in this universe. You know, you can stun a person. It's in the first Star Wars movie. They shot Leia. She didn't run around back then, you know,
Yes.
and as a kid, like she can just evade motherfuckers like in a like a three ninjas kind of way. Like Mary Kate and
Oh.
Ashley would never, they would never stoop this low.
Mhm.
They made a lot of the characters look like idiots. Darth Vader is a bigger idiot. Obi-Wan is washed up, like he forgets all of his training. Bail Organa, I think, is so tragic what they do with him. Okay, so the character Riva, she's like the main character that they're trying to push. The main
Mhm.
villain, they even try to push her lightsaber, which apparently isn't making any money. Like nobody's buying that, but they have
Mm.
like a big like ad campaign about it, and nobody cares about this character. Like nobody. What's your views on that?
Um, well, I know that there was some social media controversy surrounding her, and I'm not going to get into that aspect of her
Yeah,
being like, but I think a lot of people who were criticizing her as an actor or slash actress, whatever, I, I I think that was a bit unfair to her.
mm.
I, in my opinion, she was a victim of poor writing again
Yeah.
and a poor character. And did she act a bit over the top? Yeah, but I think her character was made to be that over the top, excessive evil kind of villain initially. So anyone who's watched enough of these things knew that eventually she was going to turn good, or she was going to have that moment where that good moment, essentially, good guy moment.
I think
She
they
was because
give.
she was too over. Pardon?
Yeah. What was she was too what?
I was saying she was too over the top evil, like had the evil look, the evil sneer. She was never smiling. Like everything she said just was in an evil tone. She had the evil walk. Like it was just everything about her was evil. She wasn't just like a regular kind of bad guy. Who was like, yeah, this is all you could see. You could tell, oh, she's evil. Look at her. She's the bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was kind of like in your face with everything. I don't think she was I wouldn't say that her acting was the main issue. I think the character was just poorly written.
I think it's definitely part of the reason, but not
Mm.
it's not completely her fault. I think it's definitely poor direction on Deborah Chow's if you've seen Jupiter Ascending with Eddie Redmayne. Eddie
Mm.
Redmayne does this, it's that type of bring them here. No, that kind of,
Yeah.
that low and
Yeah.
then big and then low. It's
Oh,
really
that's
terrible, like cliche villain
right,
acting.
right.
And she should like the director should have caught that. And I don't know why this was. And I also think they gave away their plot point right at the beginning. I don't think they should have showed that attack on the temple with one of her, because from the jump, because you know how Disney operates, you already know that she's going to be changed at the end, and
Yeah, yeah.
they still did, like they didn't start working on that character turn until like episode 5.
Yeah, somewhere late though. There
Yeah,
actually seemed like a point where her character became a bit more secondary until I think it was like for probably a couple episodes
it was
when
yeah it was yeah
she was on the back burner a little bit, and then they brought her back into it, like at the end with the whole loop issue and whatnot. But I mean, again, yeah, I didn't want to criticize because I've seen her in I've only seen Moses Ingram. I think otherwise it was in the Queen's Gambit, and I actually liked her in that. So
Yeah, she was good
I
in that. She was good in Ambulance, that Michael Bay
I
movie
didn't I
that
haven't seen Ambulances yet. Yeah,
but she's
I haven't
good in
seen
it.
it.
She doesn't do a
Yeah,
lot
so
in it, but she's good.
yeah,
So
which so then that is part of the reason why I was like, no, I don't think it's necessarily her acting.
yeah,
It just is the direction of and the writing of her character. But
yeah.
I
And
I, I was
it's
no, go ahead.
miscast.
Sorry.
It's just
Yeah,
miscast. It's bad
yeah.
direction, bad writing. It's like it sucked before she got there. Like it sucked before she got into the room. So I mean, what are you gonna do?
As you said, it was predictable from minute one. You could tell that she was
Yeah,
going to turn in the end.
and I don't think they did
But
any work to support the turn. They didn't do anything.
no, that's the thing. They really didn't. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. It's kind of like they were pushing her at first, and then she was on the back burner, and then they brought her back in. But there wasn't much done to her, like storyline wise, to
yeah.
support like the character turn in the end. But it has to be a character arc for everyone. It just really seemed to come out of the blue though, and
It
I
is.
don't know. I was
It
just
was,
yeah.
especially she basically operates from a command center that has dead children and Jedi people in that amber. Like, so you're okay with all this just so you can kill Darth Vader for killing your friends and
Yeah.
here's another thing. Okay, so a stab to the gut that should kill you, right?
Oh my goodness. Hold on. So even worse than that, right? Let me pile on to that because yes, a stab to the gut should kill. There is no way that a character set in the vein of Lord Vader, there is no way that someone who tried to betrayed him and tried to kill him, that he would leave alive. He would make sure that they were dead.
Oh my God! Oh, Jesus
So
Christ!
even the stab and her lying on the ground, he's not go. Lord Vader is not walking off and leaving her like with her eyes open on the ground unless he kills her with her eyes open. That was I think the second point where I realized this is the most fuckery I've watched in a while. Yeah, like this is absolute bullshit. Like this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't. And again, I have to hark back to the point that they made this man kill a little boy to show how bad, to show how bad he is. He kills a child, murders a child in cold blood with his fingers, snaps the boy's neck. And then later on, you're telling me that someone who he really should be killing, he doesn't even ensure that they're dead before he walks. Come on. Come
Yeah,
on.
it's blatant plot armor. They really need her to get to but I think what they should have done was they should have killed her right at episode 5. At the end of episode 5, just stab her, get her out of the story. We don't need that Luke shit. The One of the biggest issues I have with this is when they bring back Luke. He doesn't see a lightsaber. He doesn't get into and people are gonna argue that he still hasn't seen a lightsaber, but the fact that it just comes so close to like breaking the canon,
Yeah.
like bringing Luke in that part of the story, I don't see why. I don't even think
about that.
Yeah, I don't even think Leia should have been in and it's so freaking stupid how Beru is like, no, we have to stand and fight, and she gets her gun, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna try to fight a Sith or an Inquisitor with a gun that you shoot, little wampas and shit. Well, not wampas. One of those Star Wars fans are gonna kill me for that. Just some womp rat, like a womp rat. Like that's a gun that you shoot a womp rat and shit. They just need her to get there. Like you can feel the typing of the writer trying to get to point A to B to C. And when you do that, it just kills the story for you because you're like, one, it's predictable. Mm-hmm. You can predict exactly how like I predicted how a lot of episode 6 was going to be. Like I knew they were going to fight, but I didn't. And it's still like was stupid. It was more stupid than what I could have expected. Like, okay, so Darth Vader.
That's the sad part.
Yeah, like imagine you have to fight Hitler, and then you defeated Hitler, and then you're just gonna leave him alive. You're just gonna leave. You know what I'm saying? Like
I was told I aired the same grievance. I aired this same grievance. Said that made absolutely no sense. It made no sense. And I was told, well, you know, he's a Jedi. They don't like to take lives. And I was like,
Oh,
yes,
shut the
but
fuck
I
up.
was, I was like, all right, even if you want to go down that path, this is not a regular life. He's seen what Anakin had turned into in becoming Darth Vader. So you mean he's actually going to let this guy live? And what made it worse is that at the end of that battle, which I won't lie to you, I actually enjoyed the visual, the stunning visual display of that, like the planet that they were on when they fought. I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah, very superficially, I liked it too.
Yeah, right. Superficially, but I actually kind of enjoy that. Right. But at the end of the fight, when Obi-Wan you could tell he's back to himself and whatnot, he acknowledges, you realize the last name he called him was Vader. So he acknowledges that Anakin is dead and that this is no Lord Vader. Yet he lets the individual live. Like if it would have even made more sense if he couldn't acknowledge that this person is Vader and it is still his brother Anakin in there, and then he could not kill him. But to acknowledge that, all right, well, Anakin is dead. I'm over Anakin. You're Vader now, and still let him live. That's a slap. That's a slap to the face and a kick in the nuts.
I was sort of God smacked. Like I wasn't surprised, but I was sort of like, wow, they really just didn't know how to end that scene. Like they had no idea how to close.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. They knew, and we all knew that it was going to end up in a lightsaber duel between the two, right?
Right.
Cool. But you can tell that they had no idea how to end it. And it's not like well, Obi-Wan is a time traveler, so he would know that Vader ended up doing these things in the future. But still, you've seen what he's become. Like you saw his path leading from like who was supposed to be the chosen one to a Sith Lord, essentially. Yeah. So why are you letting him live? If you even acknowledge that this being is now the person that he's turned into and it is no longer the person that you knew, why are you letting him live? They just, because it's Disney, they just don't like to kill people. I mean, even the first Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor, even he.
Oh, they brought him back.
He was back, bro. Like,
now for that,
some fucking young and restless shit.
Yeah, but and that thing, because it's in canon that he actually is in Rebels, another show. Mm-hmm. So it just begs the question: why bring him into this show? Why not have a character that you can kill? So we do have that shocking moment, not a good moment, but a shock, like a moment where it's like, oh no, a person that actually dies, and I didn't expect it, you know. And when he came back, I was just like, they didn't even know how to deal with that because he's still alive in the canon. But they just didn't know how to. So I don't know. That was pretty stupid too. I mean, how the Force works, I have no idea how the Force works at this point. You can shut it off. Like basically the Force is like a faucet. You can shut it off or shut it on. But in Obi-Wan's case, he forgot how to do it, so he can't. Like he has performance issues. But like Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi, he didn't have any issues because he just started using the Force like nothing, and he can teleport his image across the. He could do Skype calls in space and that and shit. Whatever happened in that, I can't remember exactly what happened in that movie, but he could do that with no explanation. I don't know. I don't know how the Force works anymore. And then you have Rise of Skywalker, which is the biggest bunch of bullshit when it comes to Force using and all of that. So, I mean, yeah, George Lucas did break his own canon at times, but not like this, man. Like this is... Okay, so Vader can pull spaceships from the sky, but how come he never did that in the original trilogy? It just makes the original.
It made his task a lot easier if he could have done that in the original trilogies. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ, it would have been done. Like Empire Strikes Back would have been a really short movie by then.
It would have been an infomercial.
Yeah, because the plot required, and there's a lot of that. There's a lot of the plot requires this. So that's why he didn't do this. And then some Stan would come up and be like, would just try to create some explanation in their mind, be like, oh no, he let Obi-Wan go because he just wanted to play with him and shit like that. And there's nothing to support that claim. So it's like, what are we even talking about?
I was fed up of hearing excuses for the lackluster bullshit that they put out. I was just fed up. And did I even discuss Boba Fett with you? I can't recall. I didn't necessarily like Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, the Book of Boba Fett should have been called the Book of Bounty Hunters because it seemed more to like preview other bounty hunters, and the character they were pushing in that one was Cobb Vanth, their own new character as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
The thing is about Boba Fett, I did not have as high expectations going in because it was Boba Fett, and it's not like he's not a likable character or anything, but his storyline or what was not of as much interest to me.
To be honest, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about Boba Fett. I really don't.
Exactly.
I prefer Jango Fett. I prefer Jango Fett. I don't care about.
Therein lies my point, right? So yeah. Obi-Wan, it takes place in a timeline that is so essential to, and this is why I had so many issues with it. It is so essential to the original trilogy and that prequel trilogy, right? Because it takes place within that time frame. So there has to be some sort of adherence to the source material, and I don't feel like they paid enough attention to that. I don't feel like they did. Like, this is not happening in like 50 years down the line, like other stuff we made. Like, this is happening in between episode 3 and episode 4. That fuckery cut me deeper than like the Boba Fett I didn't enjoy, but Obi-Wan I was absolutely pissed off about Obi-Wan.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Book of Boba Fett's better. I don't know if I'm in the majority here, but the Book of Boba Fett,
and it wasn't even that great, but it was better.
No, it's Book of Boba Fett was pretty much trash too, and I think it also ruins the Mandalorian to a point because it kind of undoes what the last episode of the Mandalorian did, which was split up Grogu and yeah, it was a good cliffhanger to leave off on, but then you just kind of undo it, and then you have it in the middle of somebody else's story, and the most interesting people isn't your main character, and plus there is other bullshit like the Power Ranger cycle people that fuck with their mods, body parts, and
the mods.
What the hell was that, man? These cyborg young people's like, yeah, we're cool and we have fake arms and shit, and I'm Cyclops with a fake eye, and you know who did the Book of Boba Fett? I think it was the guy who directed Desperado, Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
But I mean, this shit looked like Spy Kids, man. Like this shit, Jesus. Like one of the slowest, it was a moped speeder chase, which was so slow. Why does Boba Fett never use his rocket pack? He has a rocket pack. He can fly and catch whoever is running away from him, but he never uses it.
I think he used it like once in that entire episode. Granted, he didn't even have a full 6 episode as a titular character, so there was a whole Mandalorian episode within there. So
yeah, there was,
and it was still better than Obi-Wan. I think it was like one. To be fair, it was like 1.5 because I remember telling myself, I want to see how long they're actually not going to make Boba Fett have an appearance. How long he's not going to be in this. It was like a full episode and a half. One episode for sure, and then the other was like a half of it or something like. I honestly, and it was still better than Obi-Wan. It was better than Obi-Wan
because I think they brought back Luke. And they had Luke meet Ahsoka and all that sort of thing. And I'm like, oh, hey, they're friends. That's interesting. That's cool. That's a little, fan moment. So, it's a stupid show, but like it had moments where I'm like, okay, I fuck with that. But with this Obi-Wan show with little Leia running around with her little legs and nobody could catch her. And like Flea was in it from Red Hot Chili Peppers for no, like,
oh, right.
And then Bail Organa doesn't have security, even though he's king of an entire planet. Like, what the fuck? And he doesn't send an army to go after. Like when Obi-Wan meets Leia, Leia asks, "Where's the army?" And I'm like, "Yeah, where is the army? Why didn't Bail Organa send an army after these guys?" So,
and this is a random side note, but this is just me. I'm not saying that there was anything wrong with it. I was kind of disappointed to see Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, to be quite honest.
Really?
And it's not. And I actually like Rosario. No, this is just me. It was just disappointment. I wouldn't have mind seeing like an actual like fresh face playing that character as opposed to Rosario.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I've seen Rosario in so many other things. She didn't look like Ahsoka to me. She looked like Rosario Dawson.
She look.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, she does look like that nose. Nobody in Hollywood has that nose.
She actually does. Like I'm not like it's not a major issue. Like I'm not slating Disney for that or anything. So I'm not saying it was miscast or anything. This is just like a personal. I just saw Rosario Dawson. That's it.
Fair enough. The Mandalorian, I wouldn't say is like top tier. It's solid. Like it's solid enough.
Solid is the right word I would use to describe it. Yep.
What I like about that show is that it's so simple. You can't F it up. Like you can't. It's guy with a bucket head who shoots people, and then he's got a Muppet, and they go on adventures, and it's in space and stuff. I'm cool with that. I don't need anything more than that. Just give me that. I'm fine with that. But and also they have like some really good actors on the show. They had Justified, the guy from Justified. They had
Timothy Oliphant.
They had
what's called Van.
Yeah, I like that character a lot. Ming-Na Wen, I thought she was fantastic.
She was.
When Boba Fett initially came in, I liked the actor Tamira Morrison. So just seeing him there was like a really good, nod to the originals, and he's just such a good actor. Like I'm cool with it. But then when you look at Obi-Wan, it's like, what the fuck happened? Like the acting wasn't good. The special effects took a dip. Like they couldn't even make Hayden Christensen look like he was 19 years old. And this is Disney we're talking about. They made him look 30 as opposed to 40.
But and this kind of leads perfectly into the point that I want to make here, that Disney has been making it a habit of kind of like, in a sense, always denigrating the original characters for the sake of pushing their characters. They kind of did the same thing with Boba Fett. Like Boba Fett was actually almost completely useless in his own series. In addition to the fact that his dialogue was actually really terrible. Like he was walking around just telling everyone, "I am Boba Fett." I mean, like, yes, the guy is older now. I get it. We get it. But and the point where there was a point where was he? He was in somewhere and he was chasing around this little like rabbit-looking robot. And then he holds it up and, "Do you know who I am? I'm Boba Fett." I'm like, to the robot, for real?
Why did he have to do that?
Exactly my point. And it just seems like they always have to take a dig at the older characters and make them seem stupid and like they have no idea what they're doing.
Why do they always have to make him stupid? Like that's my issue. Like
I think it is to make their characters look at this as the smarter ones.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did with Reva. They try to make her look so like smart and brilliant, and everybody was like doubting her because she's like from the gutter, and I'm just like, oh my god, what are we doing?
That was basically it. And you see what they did to Obi-Wan's character. They did the same thing with Boba Fett. They didn't necessarily paint Luke in the smartest light either in the final in their trilogy. Not saying he was absolutely stupid, but he just wasn't the same either way. It's just a continued effort to constantly chip away at what we know and hold dear in an effort to take things in their own direction. There could be a better harmony of transitioning to the Disney phase of Star Wars than what they've given us so far. Instead of the harsh, just like, all right, your characters are shit. We're tired of all that shit. Look at our new shiny toys. Look at Reva. Look at Cobb Vanth. Look at.
I think because that brings up like Top Gun, how they did that one. They did a good job at bringing in Goose's son, and they really propped him up to be a good character. Like I've been singing Miles Teller's praises for years.
I'm a fan of Miles Teller. Yeah.
Yeah, but he has the worst agent, man. Like fan four stick, and what else that he was in the detergent movies, the Divergent or whatever.
Divergent detergent.
Like,
Yeah, the only other thing
yeah,
I actually really liked him in was what's the name of the movie where he was a drummer and with
Whiplash.
Whiplash. There we go. Whiplash. Yeah,
Genius film,
yeah,
genius film.
yeah,
But this is the thing. They build up the next generation while honoring what came before it.
yeah.
And it is about Maverick. And I wouldn't be opposed to another Top Gun where he gives the mantle to what's his name, because I think there was the story between those two characters, between Maverick and Goose's son, which I can't remember his name right now, but
Rooster.
Rooster. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
It's there was a conflict there. There was a genuine reason to have them at odds.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
thought the idea of having Maverick uh be sort of overprotective over Rooster, and
And the
that
thing is,
causes.
it was at the wish, it was at the request of his mother before she died.
That's right, Meg
After
Ryan.
what happened, so yes, so it absolutely made sense. It absolutely made sense. I love that too. Actually,
Yeah,
so
I
it
mean,
wasn't just a case of Rooster coming in and being like, oh well, you're responsible for my dad's death, and then them taking
yeah,
it down that line. There was a genuine reason, like
they
yeah,
they did it so much better than I
yeah,
expected, and I
yeah,
was so happy
agreed,
about that.
agreed, yeah,
And we've seen a lot of these types of legacy character movies that are coming up, that have been out. I think like Matrix and Ghostbusters and Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man that came out, which I think was the best one until Top Gun came out.
yeah.
Did not
Yeah.
like what they did with the Matrix though. I was sort of.
I can't bring myself to watch it. I can't bring myself to watch it honestly, and I had I had numerous opportunities to do so. I just can't
Yeah.
bring myself to watch it honestly. I I was ruined. So the thing is, okay, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but Bad Boys 2 is actually my joint favorite movie, right?
Yes,
Uh,
I
Along
remember
with,
this conversation, and I also
there we go.
remember.
Uh-huh.
Well, we'll get to that.
So I'm saying, I was just saying that to say that I fell for the trap and I decided to watch Bad Boys for Life. No, I didn't go to the cinema and pay to see it or whatnot. So I'm glad I didn't waste my money there. But
Yeah.
Bad Boys for Life is, it is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Without even, this is not even hyperbolic.
And I
It's not
remember
even
this
hyperbolic.
conversation too. I had this conversation with you, sir. I think.
Yeah, it's one of the worst
You
movies I've
mentioned
ever
it.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the worst movies I have ever seen. And granted, Bad Boys 2 is not a great movie in terms of a project. It's
Yeah.
not. But it is actually memorable enough that you remember parts of it to be funnier. You remember certain things, like it keeps it in pop culture, right? There's still
Yeah.
references from Bad Boys 2 that we use up to this day, that kind of thing. Bad Boys for Life was absolutely terrible.
Woosah. Remember that?
Yeah, bro.
Like,
The
I still do
Woosah,
that for
exactly.
20
That's like
years.
20 years. 20 years. So I'm saying all this to say I fell for the trap when I watched Bad Boys for Life. There was nothing memorable about it. It was terribly written. It was. I'm not even. We'll discuss that another time, possibly. So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just saying that to say that when I saw that they were bringing out another Matrix, I was like, no, you're not going to do this to me again. You're not going to do this to me again. I fell for
Yeah.
it with Bad Boys. I'm not going
Yeah.
to. If I had not seen Bad Boys for Life, or if it had not been that terrible, I may have delved into the Matrix Resurrection. But I did not feel. I'm kind of glad I did with Top Gun, but I was hearing so many positive reviews about it. I was like, all right, there's no way that,
Oh,
that
yeah.
this could just be overhyped. Like this has to be actually really that good.
I mean, I really don't know how to understate it. I loved it. I love Top Gun. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Tom Cruise fan, but I will
Yeah.
watch anything. That's the thing. I'll watch anything Tom Cruise is in,
That he's in,
because
yeah.
there's certain actors that you feel they just make good shit no matter what.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even if it's bad, it still has something about it that that has something that works. He always tries. I mean, he hangs off a plane for us, He jumps off things. he hangs off of the Burj Khalifa for me. So you have to appreciate. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, the Mummy was shit, but you tried. You tried
I
something.
mean, everyone has that. Every one of those actors has that one bad egg in their portfolio.
Yeah.
What I said to my family, because I actually saw Maverick with my family when we were over in Houston that weekend, and what I said to them afterwards is like, I could tell that Tom Cruise really enjoyed making this movie. Tom Cruise is really into this movie. Like he gave everything in this movie.
Yeah.
Even the emotional parts, like he was deep into the crying bag and everything. The reunion with Val Kilmer, that one, that one pulled on the heartstrings. And then to even hear him trying to talk and everything, it was.
Yeah, that's good. That's like good legacy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and again, his character fit. It wasn't forced. He
no.
wasn't forced into it. Everything made sense.
And they kept like every element of the member berries. They always put something out there that, hey, remember this thing? I think everything just flowed right. Everything was correct. This was a correct way to bring this particular character back. It was just sort of the best way to do these types of movies. I thought the new actors were really good. Miles Teller as Jennifer Connelly, like one of my all-time favorite actresses. And she looks beautiful. Like, she is beautiful, and she does such a great performance. And just that, like, my favorite part of the movie was when he like tries to climb out her window, and then he meets the daughter, and then the daughter's like, don't break her heart again.
Yeah.
and that was pretty interesting, because it makes the character, you can tell that the character is older, and the character has to right some wrongs that he did. With her, with Rooster, with oh my God, it's a good fucking movie, man.
It was awesome. And then we didn't even touch on the fact that the filming and the actual aeronautics of it.
I don't know. Do you have another 3 hours? We can like, the cinematography in this is crazy. Like,
the cinematography is incredible. Yeah.
I can't think of another movie that tops it. I think this is a milestone in terms of filmmaking.
It is.
In dogfighting. You don't have to be a fan of like
dogfight. I don't know why the term wasn't coming to me. Dogfighting.
Yeah. You don't have to be a fan to, but it is just amazing. Like, my wife, she didn't think that she would like it. She doesn't really dig Tom Cruise or action movies, and she loved it. Like, we both, and it was the first movie that we both liked at the same time. Like, because there's some horror movies that she takes me to, and I'm like, yeah, it was all right. And then like something like the Batman, she didn't like the Batman. She didn't like the Northman, which is one of my favorite movies of the year.
I still need to see that.
Man, it's a bit tough. It's a tough watch, but Jesus Christ, what they did in that movie is pretty incredible. Like, that's one of my favorites. There's this Everywhere, Everything All at Once with
I saw that name.
That's pretty good.
No.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
It's freaking weird. It's what's the actress's name?
Michelle
Yeoh. Yeah. Like, Michelle Yeoh for years, and you know how like she's cool in fight scenes and stuff like that. She's great in this movie. She's great. So I would say that's probably my top. What would you say is like the top movies that you've seen this year?
So I actually enjoyed the last Spider-Man movie as well. I mean, that is what it is. But just, and not even beyond the nostalgic feel of it, I think it was well put together and well thought out. I'm not going to say it's like one of the best Marvel movies I've seen all time or anything like that. But I thought it was a little better than it was a little better than solid. Then I wouldn't just say this is a solid, but I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. Maverick is arguably, because I cannot find a fault in Maverick. Like, so Maverick has to be like the best thing I've seen. And to find a fault in Maverick, to me, is really to be nitpicking, because you probably can if you want to, but why? Like, there's absolutely no reason to try to pick anything apart there.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to Mission Impossible, the next one.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise does nothing wrong in my eyes when it comes to filmmaking, other than The Mummy. We'll say that. But then,
yeah.
I even like Mission Impossible 2, which was terrible, but I still got a soft spot for it. We both agree. We both hate Obi-Wan. There's a lot we could cover on that. That's a 3-hour show, or at least it's terrible. But I think Phase 4, it's very hit and miss for me. It's more misses than hits, but
Yeah. So I'll start so far with the last one. The last one I saw was Doctor Strange. That's the most recent one I saw, and I remember you saying that it was shit. I think I had to look back at it because I only analyzed that movie from the perspective of, I think I enjoyed it, but because I was not expecting them to lean. I was not expecting the movie to lean so heavily into the Scarlet Witch, and like they really went into the whole witch aspect. Like it was almost like a horror, basically, right? Yeah. And I just wasn't expecting that. So I think in that regard, I enjoyed it. But from an overall standpoint, I mean, I see what you mean, and it was more her movie than anything else. It was more her movie, and again, that being sort of like a continuation of WandaVision, I think to me kind of sort of really struck. That's why I enjoyed it. But I mean, there hasn't been much to write home about otherwise,
right? Because there's different writers doing different projects, or it's under the hands of a different creative. Yeah. They sort of do things that contradicts what came before it. Mm-hmm. So WandaVision, not the greatest thing, but I think they did some good things with Wanda. But how it ends and where this begins, it's sort of like she just became evil just because she has this book, and then she's evil now. Like, no way to discuss it. She's just evil. She is. It is what it is. And it sort of just makes me think, well, Tony Stark was right to like try to lock her up. He was right about the Accords. Everybody who's helped Wanda is now a dumbass because they allowed. How is it that nobody tried to like trank this woman and put her in the deepest, darkest prison from the get-go, and now she's running amok, and it's like, huh? What are we doing now? Like, where are we? Yeah. So my whole thing about Marvel now is either you die hero, like Tony Stark, see yourself become the villain, like Wanda. Mm-hmm. Or just live and kind of be just present awkwardly and bring in your replacement, like Hawkeye and Thor and Hulk, and like they're just there. Like there's nothing more. Like watching Love and Thunder, like there is an idea that could have made a good movie, but it was too jokey, and I just felt like they regressed the Thor character, and it's just, we don't know what to do with this guy, so we're just gonna make him funny. People like it when he's funny, so we'll just do that. And it sucks because when you like the Marvel canon because there's character progression. When you look at Tony Stark and Captain America, they grew as characters. And where they ended up in Endgame was different to where they started. So when you look at where Thor is, it's just.
And hasn't it been a progression along that, like, or a regression rather?
It's a regression,
I feel like in even looking at remembering his trilogy, like each one was a little funnier than the first, and it included him becoming a lot more of a jokester as opposed to like growing in his heroism or what have you, like, and growing as a character. It was more Yeah, he's a stand-up comedian of the bunch. I'm not surprised to hear you saying that because I haven't seen it as yet. Love
Yeah.
and Thunder, that is, but I'm not surprised that you're saying it that way. To me, it was a progression that was taking place over time,
And well, that's not even the worst of it. I mean, I thought the special effects were awful. Like there were some
mm,
parts in it that looked like an animatic. It just looked like a CGI cartoon.
yeah,
And I mean, no fault of the VFX artists because this article came out that VFX artists don't want to work with Marvel anymore because
right.
they've been pushed to the brink with these unrealistic deadlines and stuff like
Mm-hmm,
that. So
mm-hmm,
it's well, I mean, what do they expect to do? And that's the thing; they overstuff their slate, and they
mm-hmm,
have all these Marvel shows that they're coming out with, and a lot of them look really bad. I
yeah.
mean, I like the last couple episodes of Moon Knight looked really like the CGI wasn't really up to snuff, and
Another
uh
missed opportunity.
yeah, oh my god, that is one of the biggest missed opportunities because Moon Knight is such a cool character and they just
Yeah,
dropped the ball hard with that.
yeah. Right actor, but just lackluster overall.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they
I
do something in the future better with him, but
yeah. I just enjoyed it because of Oscar Isaac. Like I didn't necessarily enjoy Venom, even though Tom Hardy is one of my favorite actors. Um, like Woody Harrelson too, but I don't know, I just didn't get anything from that.
yeah,
And
that's another
the
thing.
most recent Morbius. I mean, I haven't seen I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, but there's nothing kind of enticing me to want to go see it in any case.
The funny thing about Morbius is it reminds me of a Snapchat filter where wherever he turns, it just looks like that shit look like Snapchat, bro. And I will give that movie its credit.
Yeah.
I think they built like a really good relationship between the Jared Leto and the villain Matt
Mm-hmm.
Smith, who
Mm-hmm.
people would know him as Doctor Who and from The Crown. Great
Mm-hmm.
actor. He is the type of actor you want as a villain.
Right.
Not in wrong movie though, but he is like I would like to see him in a good movie where he plays a villain because he's
Right.
excellent in it. But it's boy, and it has one of the worst end credit scenes I've ever seen. You
Oh,
want me to?
really?
I could spoil it for
Wow.
you. You want to
Yeah,
spoil it?
I'm probably not going to watch that shit. So you go ahead,
Okay,
by all means.
so you remember from Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, Michael Keaton as the Vulture, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So they've been teasing that he would show up in this movie. He doesn't show up
Mm-hmm.
in the movie until the very end, where he just pops in, meets with Morbius. For some reason, Morbius meets him in the middle of a dark quarry, and then he's like, I don't know why I'm here. Maybe it's something to do with Spider-Man, but maybe we should team up to do stuff. And then Morbius was like, in the deadest pan way, you know, that
Yeah.
bland Jared Leto way. He's like,
Yeah.
interesting. And then it ends. And I'm like, no, don't do this. Sony, what are you doing? You had it. You were doing so well with Into the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse and you know, No Way Home and all, and then you just do this shit. And now you're back. You're back to being stupid again, Sony. Nice job.
Wow, that is interesting.
It is awful, man. Like it is like go look for that clip, man. You
I
will
know
laugh.
know that you mentioned it. I think I will. You know the thing is, I still like to watch bad movies so I can critique them and criticize them on my own. I don't like to just go off of the word of everyone else, but and I don't like to only watch a good shit. I like to watch some bad shit. So as you know, like so I
Yeah.
can say what I thought actually made it bad. But I don't know. I'm just not enthused about seeing Jared Leto, to be very honest. But
I really
I
yeah, what you're saying, sir?
no, I'm saying I'm opening up to the idea of watching it though.
I think the funny part about it is it's because Tyrese is in it, and if you could, just watch it. Tell me why Tyrese is in that movie, and then come back
Yeah.
and tell me and explain it to me, please. Because he just shows up and he just does whatever, and he says lines, and then he picks up his paycheck and he goes home. And I'm just like, man, they're not making any more Transformers movies, so you got to make money somehow. So
some way, somehow.
You got to do what you got to do. I mean, you know, next Fast and Furious. Oh, that's like your favorite franchise, right?
I still haven't gone past 7, bro. I'm still on 7. I'm still on 7.
Real talk. Just stop right there. That
okay.
you got to where the peak of it is.
Okay, cool.
You don't need to see the rest. You're good. Just pack it up. You don't need to.
I was trying, but I keep trying to watch over 7 from the start because I haven't even finished it, mind you. I haven't finished it.
Fair enough.
I keep getting to around the same point, and I'm like, nah, I can't do this shit. Is there
just
nothing?
Watch the end.
Just okay.
Just watch the end. Just watch the end.
I'll look for the end then, because every time I put that on and try to watch it, I end up just going back to watch sitcom reruns on TV. That's how bad it is. I can't stomach it.
What was the part that kills it for you? Like that just makes you be like, nah.
Was this in 7 or which one? Oh, this in 6. I can't even remember. 6. It was 6 when The Rock jumps off of the bridge, right? Onto the truck when they were driving at full speed.
Yeah.
And in the tank. That was 6, right?
No, that was 6.
That was 6. Okay, so I think 6 is actually the part. I think it took me a while to get past that scene because I watched. It took me a few tries to actually get past that scene. I watched.
It was hilarious.
It was hilarious, bro. I ended up finishing 6. I cannot recall what it is in 7 because I don't think I got very far in it.
Okay.
I don't think I got very far in it.
You don't got to watch F8 because it's whatever. That's where I'm like out of it.
At 8. Okay.
Yeah. But when I saw 9, I had to see 9 because of one reason and one reason only. They go to space.
Yeah. So I've heard.
Datsun, or I don't know what car it was, but like it's some hatchback or something. Like it was.
Yeah, nah.
They went to space in a car, dog.
Nah, I can't. I don't know how you do it though.
And Bow Wow came back. Bow Wow came back and he made him go into space with a
Oh, I'm gonna try to watch. I so want to do this, so I could talk about it and laugh at it, but I just don't have the intestinal fortitude.
It's hard, man. It's hard. That ninth one was tough. Like I don't know.
I'll take your advice and just look at the ending of 7, and then try to move on from there.
All right, so you got to go now, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I think my time has expired.
All right, cool.
At this juncture.
All right, man. It's really cool that you came through and spoke to me for a bit. Hopefully, in the future we can get together, do this again, or anything like that. There's a lot of bad stuff coming up, so we got to talk about it. We definitely got to get on top of it. Are you going to go through with your YouTube channel or no? Like what's
yeah, that's still WIP. That's still a work in progress. But I mean, always on Instagram is my main page where even when we do begin to do that, whenever that may be, sooner than later, they'll be posted to my page, Armand.Jerome. That's my IG handle. That's where mostly everything will go down.
Okay, cool.
ARMAND.Jerome.
You don't do weren't you doing a sports podcast?
Yes. I actually do have an NFL podcast. And you're still one of my boys. Yeah. We just completed season 2. We just completed season 2 at the end of the last NFL season. It's called the Green Beige Podcast. You can find it on YouTube or anywhere that you download or listen to your podcast.
Okay,
Green
cool.
Beige. Yeah.
All right. No problem. All right, man. Good seeing you.
Thank you for having me, sir. This was fun. I mean, I need to cut it now because we could go on doing this all night. There's so
all right,
much.
no problem.
I'm done, my love. I'm done. See the wife just
she gave me the signal.
She knows. Yeah, she knows how it is. When I get into the zone.
Yeah, I know that signal way too well. All right, man.
All
All
right.
right. Take care. See you soon. And this
All
is
right. Thanks
Lynk-On
again, bro.
Media out.